Ryan, in a previous video, we were talking about this aspect of not necessarily being able to communicate our needs with our partner. Really made me think about intimacy between partners, and how we communicate with that. I was curious, like, what has been your experience in your office with that? And what would you want to say to that kind of topic?
Yeah, and I think it's a topic that comes up a lot around pride, because there is a lot of pressure around pride to express your liberation through sex or other forms of intimacy. And that might not be what everybody wants, and it might be really important to some people as well. I think it's important to recognize both of those things. But in thinking about what we really want from relationships, it can be very challenging to communicate our boundaries around sex. I've noticed an increasing expectation that queer masculine people will be comfortable with and prefer to not use protection during sex.
Oh, interesting.
And that for a long time, queer masculine people in particular were very consistently using condoms because of AIDS. But now we have new things. Now we have PrEP and we have PEP, and these things can really help to keep us safe. But I think it's very important for each individual person to still really pause and think about, what am I comfortable with? And how do I clearly and explicitly communicate that to my partners and potential partners? And then thinking what your own boundaries are around that as well.
Well, yeah. I think when you use the term boundaries, I think that's such an important word with this, especially with sex. Because we often think of boundaries as being these closed off walls of like a no, this is my boundary. That's not what a boundary is. A boundary is saying, this is how I want you to love me. And that's the way we are with friendships. It's definitely how we are in intimate relationships. Saying, I want a condom because I feel safe with you. Or to say, this is the kind of sex I want to have with you. And when we have these boundaries, not only does it allow for that aspect of consensual exploration, but it also allows us to realize that our partner knows us, feels safe with us, and that we don't have to have what I call in my office and what a lot of kind of psychotherapists call dubious consent. That I'm saying yes because I'm scared to say no. When we have dubious consent, sex is not safe. It can be scary. It can be because we think we need to for an image. Creating boundaries, as you talk about, allows for some of that to feel like I'm empowered now to say what I need.
Yeah, and in that other video we did where we spoke about relationships, we talked a lot about communication and knowing yourself as well, so you know what it is you wish to communicate. And that's important for me to acknowledge about boundaries, is that boundaries are something that you should have control over. And so often we're used to saying, I have this boundary, and essentially hoping that people will follow it. I hope that no one will cross a sexual boundary with me at Pride. The difficult part about boundaries being that way is the person holding the boundary has no control about whether it's adhered to. So my advice in my office when talking about boundaries with clients is that the best boundaries you can set are based on your own behavioral response to a situation. So your boundary is, if someone pressures me to have sex in a way I'm not comfortable with, if someone pressures me to use or not use a condom, that I will leave.
Or I will state exactly what's going on for me in that moment. Yes.
And when boundaries are set up based on your response to a situation, a magical thing is the only person that can cross that is you. And it can be a very empowering way to set boundaries.
Exactly. I actually just heard that recently, that the only boundaries we can actually set are our own. Think about that going into Pride. Think about that going into life. That how do we start to navigate what we want? That's a bigger question. What do we want? Take some time. Think about it. What do I want when I'm celebrating? How do I want to come across? How do I want to have sex? Do I want to have sex is a very important question. And as we start to navigate our wants, the self-awareness allows us to kind of know then, what do I need to set for myself to make that happen?